Hare Krishna. So, thank you all devotees. I would like to first of all thank Harup Narsingh Prabhu, Siddhagaram Prabhu, our all Yatra members for giving me this opportunity to serve. Um, I do generally don't have this full qualification on speaking on Srimad Bhagavatam much, but as I discussed with Satkirti Prabhu, he said it will be good to discuss on Srimad Bhagavatam topic. So I beg and I humbly pray for the blessings of all the devotees here, assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, to bless me that whatever I can speak is according to Guru Sadhu Shastra. I can speak like a parrot who can just repeat the message of our acharyas as it is, and it can imbibe, it can help us all to learn and grow into this Krishna consciousness movement. So I would like to begin with a small kirtan, and then we will continue with the topic. I would request, okay, I've got the co-host so I can share also. So let's start with Radha Madhav Kirtan. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Radha Shyam Sundar Radha Shyam Sundar Radha Shyam Sundar Radhe Jai Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe Jai Radhe 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 Jai Sri Radhe Jai Radhe 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 Shri Radhe. Jai Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jai Krishna Balaram. Jai Vrindavan Dham Vrindavan Dham Vrindavan Dham Jai Vrindavan Dham. Jai Jagannath Jai Baladeva Jai Subhadra Mai Jai Sudarshana. Jai Narsingade 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 Jai Narsingade. Jai Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada. Jai Jai Gurudev 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 Jai Jai Gurudev. Gita Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol. Gita Gaura Hari Bol. जय जय श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय. जगत गुरु शिला प्रभुपाद की जय. पतित पावन शिला गुरुदेव की जय. निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. So I'd like to do some invocation prayers for Srimad Bhagavatam. नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्णा पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तना हृदयन्तस्तो हि भद्राणि विधोनोति सुहृत्सदां. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नष्टकी. निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं सुखमुखादमृतं द्रव्यसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुका. ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश. श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथं वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदां सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश. हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते. तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये. वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिद्धोभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं. नमः विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय पताका स्वामिति नामिने नमः आचार्य पदाय निताय गौरताय गौर कथाधामताय नागर ग्रामताय नमः विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशकारिणे. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि से गौर भक्तवृंद. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So once again, I thank our Yatra leaders, all the devotees here, for giving me this opportunity to serve my dear Guru Maharaj. Our dear Guru Maharaj heart is in preaching. Our Guru Maharaj, dear Guru Maharaj heart is in spreading this love of Krishna consciousness everywhere. So this is one of the wonderful opportunity, and I seek your blessings again to do rightful. I can serve this nicely and do my best in pleasing Shri Guru and Vaishnavas and Krishna. So I was thinking what topic I will take, and then we had this nice Makkar Sankranti festival. So I thought, why not in connection with that? Already in last lecture we have heard from His Grace Rasamrit Prabhu, who has very nicely elaborated on various topics. He also covered the Makkar Sankranti part as well, and he also talked about Navavarsha, how we should be, imbibing our Navavarsha, how we should start our Navavarsha, our new year, although it is Gregorian New Year, we follow Gaurangian New Year. That's how we follow. But generally, anything that gives us an opportunity to enhance ourselves, to reintrospect, and to imbibe some new good things into us, we should be open to that. And that is how Prabhu delivered that class very nicely. And we saw that also practically, that how many of the devotees have come up and they have started reciting at least one verse daily. And we have seen that is now catching up within our yatra nicely. And that's where His Grace Bharup Narsingh Prabhu, Rasamrit Prabhu organized this session now, which we have the chanting session every day. Along with that, we will do one verse also. So I'm very, very thankful to them. So that will help us all to remain connected, not just with the scriptures, but also the method of studying scriptures. So method of studying scripture is within the Sangha. हम सब कुछ संकीर्तन में करते हैं. So it's very important that we remain connected, and that's where I think these sessions will definitely help. May not be possible every day to join, but whenever we join, we should every time we should try that. Whenever we have time, we should try to join every day, and at least whatever shloka we do, we can share it on the group. So if somebody has missed the session, they can hear that shloka and at least practice that shloka. So that way it will be nice, and we can give this service in rotation also, who will recite and what, so that everybody gets a chance to serve and remain connected and offer some service into the community. So that's really a wonderful thing. So taking forward from there, from what we discussed last time on the Makkar Sankranti. So we saw there are various significance of Makkar Sankranti. So one of that is the sun moves into the Makkar Rashi. So he goes to see his son Shani Dev. Generally, they don't go along with each other. बट सन गॉड जो सूर्य देव है वो शनि जी से मिलने जाते हैं, अपने पुत्र से मिलने जाते हैं, एंड दैट इज गोज इनटू, और शनि जो है वो मकर राशि के किंग है, इज किंग ऑफ मकर राशि. सो वी एंटर इनटू मकर राशि एंड दैट इज कंसिडर्ड वेरी गुड, बिकॉज दे कम अलोंग टुगेदर. एंड फर्स्ट टाइम लाइक वो साल में एक बार वो साथ आते हैं, जनरली नहीं आते. So that is considered as a good family get together. They are like coming up together. So that is one significance. Second significance is the Uttarayan. That is considered that the Devtas, the day of Devta starts, and the Asuras are annihilated also. So it is also mentioned that ki jo एक पर्वत है, मंदार पर्वत के नीचे असुरों का मारकर विष्णु जी ने रखा था, एंड देवतास गॉट their day, so Uttarayan or Dakshinayan is considered bad. So Uttarayan is generally considered very nice. So Uttarayan जो है बहुत ही शुभ माना जाता है. और हम देखते हैं कि गंगा सागर में ये एक और इसका सिग्निफिकेंस था कि गंगा सागर में भागीरथ जी ने जो तपस्या करके गंगा जी को बुलाया, and he brought Ganga down, and he offered his tarpan for his the ancestors. अपने 60,000 जो ancestors थे who were cursed and burnt into ashes. He offered some obligations to them. He offered his tarpan to them, and delivered them with the water of Ganga. तो आज भी there is a significance that in Ganga Sagar there is ISKCON Ganga Sagar is performing this service there. They are doing a lot of sevas there. From Gujarat side, they were helping ISKCON Ganga Sagar, and I also got the opportunity to do some service there in terms of some dakshina there. So ISKCON Ganga Sagar is doing that. And one more very significant part which we all Vaishnavas delight, is in hearing about the pastime of Bhishma Dev. So Bhishma Dev choose this time, Uttarayan time, to leave his body, because I see manyata hai ki whenever somebody leaves the body in Uttarayan, then he gets the highest perfection, and that's where it's considered. Or Dakshinayan mein aisa hai, but for devotees it generally doesn't matter, because whoever has developed the knowledge of Krishna within heart, then the time, place, circumstance doesn't matter. In whichever place, whichever time, whichever situation the devotee leaves the body, he goes back to Godhead because his mind is already absorbed in Krishna. So that is what is the most important thing. तो हम कभी कभी बहुत सारे टेक्निकल चीजों में घुस जाते हैं, फंस जाते हैं, but simple thing for devotees is अंत काले च अंत काल में अगर हम भगवान का स्मरण कर सकते हैं, then we are taken back to Godhead. So this is very important thing, but still Bhishma Dev took this opportunity because he has got the इच्छा मृत्यु वरदान, वो वरदान उनको मिला था. And we'll hear about all that pastime and how he passed away, why his passing away is glorious, why his passing away of Bhishma Dev is so glorious. We'll hear that. So before that, we'll take one verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. This is 1.9.43. I can share my screen now for everybody here, so that we can recite this verse and then we can go more deeper into this subject. Okay, which is this? Do the verse first. Chapter 9, 1.4.3. Okay, here is this verse. Okay, so we can go through this verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sutta Uvacha Krishna evam Bhagavati Manovaktrishti Vrittibihi Atmani Atmanam Aveshya Suhantasvahas Uparamat. Synonyms and translation by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sutta Uvacha. Sutta Goswami said, Krishna, Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, evam only, Bhagavati, unto him, Manaha, with mind, Vak, speech, Drishti, sight, Vritti, Vihi, activities, Atmani, unto the super soul, Atmanam, the living being, Aveshya, having merged in Saha, he, Antaswaha, inhaling, Uparamat, became silent. So we'll read once again the verse and then go into the translation and purport. Sutta Uvacha Krishna evam Bhagavati Manovaktrishti Vrittibihi Atmani Atmanam Aveshya so Antasva Uparamat. Any one Mataji and one Prabhuji can recite.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Sutta Uvacha Krishna evam Bhagavati Manovaktrishti Vrittibihi Atmani Atmanam Aveshya so Antasvasa Uparamat.
One Mataji. Hare Krishna. Anyone Mataji would like to recite, or we move ahead, or one more Prabhuji can do then?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji, go ahead.
Sutta Uvacha Krishna evam Bhagavati Manovaktrishti Vrittibhi Atmani Atmanam Avashya so Anta Swasa Uparamat.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So read the translation. Sutta Goswami said, thus Bhishma Deva merged himself in the super soul, Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, with his mind, speech, sight, and actions. And thus he became silent and his breathing stopped. Purport. The stage attained by Bhishma Deva while quitting his material body is called Nirvikalpa Samadhi, because he merged himself into thinking of the Lord and his mind into remembering his different activities. He chanted the glories of the Lord, and by his sight, he began to see the Lord personally present before him. And thus all his activities became concentrated upon the Lord without deviation. Thus, this is the highest stage of perfection, and it is possible for everyone to attain this stage by practice of devotional service. The devotional service of the Lord consists of 9 principles of service activities. And they are hearing, chanting, remembering, serving the lotus feet, worshipping, praying, executing the orders, fraternizing, and fully surrendering. Any one of them or all of them are equally competent to award the desired result, but they require to be practiced persistently under the guidance of an expert devotee of the Lord. The first item, hearing, is the most important item of all, and therefore hearing of the Bhagavad Gita and later on Srimad Bhagavatam is essential for the serious candidate who wants to attain the stage of Bhishma Dev at the end. The unique situation at Bhishma Dev's time of death can be attained even though Lord Krishna may not be personally present. His words of the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam are identical with the Lord. They are sound incarnations of the Lord, and one can fully utilize them to be entitled to attain the stage of Sri Bhishma Dev, who was one of the 8 Vasus. Every man or animal must die at a certain stage of life. But one who dies like Bhishma Dev attains perfection. And one who dies forced by the laws of nature dies like an animal. That is the difference between a man and an animal. The human form of life is especially meant for dying like Bhishma Dev. So here we see a wonderful purport written by Srila Prabhupada on this very important verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. So just to keep myself intact with the flow, I prepared one presentation. I can just share that. We did the Mangalacharan. So what topics I want to cover is the 4 topics from this entire episode of Passing Away of Bhishma Dev, first canto, 9th chapter. So we can see the dealings between Krishna and Bhishma. Then we can see the exchange of transcendental pleasure, witnessing passing away of Bhishma, and Bhishma Dev's prayers to Lord Krishna. So the 4 main topics from this entire chapter. So coming to the dealings between Krishna and Bhishma. So there are very special dealings between Krishna and Bhishma. We can see that that Bhishma on the battlefield was standing in the garb of an enemy. हम देखते हैं कि भीष्म देव जो है वो कृष्ण के opposite में खड़े हैं and is ready to fight with Krishna and obviously Pandavas mainly. And so here we see Bhishma is not worshipping Krishna, or is not like in our traditional sense, is not like we don't see him like surrendered to Krishna, कि भगवान के लोटस फीट पे पड़े हुए हैं या भगवान के लोटस फीट के बारे में सोच रहे, ऐसा मतलब दिखने के लिए externally we can see that he is into the mood of chivalry, he is into the mood of fighting spirit with Krishna, and he had a very special role to play actually. So what role he had? He was there to present. Externally हम सोच सकते हैं कि like Bhishma had done a promise. He had a vow. Pratigya, Bhishma Pratigya, जो बहुत भीषण माना जाता है, बहुत significant माना जाता है. It's Bhishma Pratigya. So he has taken Pratigya that he will never give up on Kauravas or the king of Hastinapur. He will always remain servant of that Hastinapur, and he will serve. So that is external reason, because we can see Bhishma Dev is very, very learned, very, very scholarly. He knows the Bhagavad Gita, the Brahma Vidya. He is fully knowledgeable personality. So he always know that the message of Lord to his devotees is Sarva Dharman Parityajya. So even if he quits his relation with Hastinapur and surrendered fully to Krishna, that would have been fine. All was okay. He could do that. But still he didn't do, because he had a special role to play. And that role was that he wanted to show whosoever be, because he was very highly, बहुत ही शूरवीर माना जाता था उनको. And even Duryodhana said that, our army is nicely protected by Bhishma Dev. He was like, when Bhishma Dev is present, their win is confirmed because of Bhishma Dev. Because Bhishma Dev was like very, very powerful. Parshuram was his guru, and he had fight with Parshuram also earlier. And we see that he was kind of Ajita only, like we cannot be overcome. But then Bhishma Dev wanted to prove here that whosoever, like a powerful warrior like me, who's standing in front of Krishna and opposite of Krishna, then that will have to lose the battle. So Bhishma Dev was knowing from the beginning that he is on the side of a losing party. So दो चीजें यहाँ पर है. One is he wanted to prove that even if Bhishma Dev, such a great warrior, is standing, he will also be defeated by if he's against Krishna. That is one thing. And second thing is in that mood also someone can internal aspect or intimate aspect or guhyatam aspect, हम लोग secret aspect कह सकते हैं, which only our acharyas can reveal us, is that in that mood also, in that fighting spirit also, somebody can worship Krishna. So we can see how Krishna is great in this also, right? Bhishma is again glorifying Krishna, that Krishna will accept your service in any form. हम पहले भगवद गीता में सुन चुके, पत्रम पुष्पम फलम तोयम, भगवान को प्रसन्न करने के लिए क्या चाहिए? ये चार चीज भी अगर तुम भक्ति पूर्वक, मम भक्त्या उपहर्तम, भक्ति पूर्वक अगर आप ये उसको ऑफर करो, भगवान को ऑफर करोगे, इफ यू ऑफर दैट विथ लिटिल डिवोशन, Krishna will accept that. So whatever you do, even fighting with Krishna is taken as taken by Krishna as a service, and Krishna is ready to accept if your heart sees the intent of your heart. He doesn't see what activity you are doing. Like we heard the story also, that once one person was going to meet his girlfriend. So he's going in the boat and he has one nice flower for her, and all of a sudden that flower fall down into the water. So he wanted to give that flower to his girlfriend, but that water fall down into the water because he was crossing the river, so it fall down into the river, so it is gone. So then he said, okay, Govindaya Namaha, Bhagavan ko offer kar diya. Like the flower was first of all not meant for her, but just he said that give him some gati, because uske baad wo jab mar gaya, after that when he was died and he was taken back, then he was given some good higher position, for Swarga for some time, although he was fully doing nonsense on the earth when he was there. But because of that one offering to Krishna, he was given some space in Swargaloka for some time in Swargaloka. Before taking to Nark, they said you will spend some time in Swarga. Then he said, okay, I don't remember anything that I have done good that I can be into Swargaloka. They said, yes, you did one thing. When you are taking a flower for your girlfriend, by mistake it fall down in water and you offer to Govinda. So Govinda has taken that as a service of yours and has given you some opportunity to stay in Swarga. So then he says, okay, drop me into the place where there is garden, फूलों का बगीचा किधर है, उधर मेरे को ड्रॉप करो स्वर्गलोक में. And then he took one talwar and just started offering all the flowers to Govinda. He understood कि एक बार गलती से मैंने ऑफर किया तो I got so much of gati. How much will be my gati if I offer it all the flowers in the garden to Krishna with full devotion? So Krishna sees the intent, even that is also, if impure, Krishna may accept it. That is his causeless mercy. So Bhishma Dev wanted to prove that even if you're offering Krishna a service which might from externally look like you are becoming an enemy of Krishna, Krishna will still accept. Bhishma Dev was piercing Krishna's body, and he also made Krishna angry. So externally we can see that Krishna became angry on Bhishma Dev because Bhishma wanted that Krishna should get angry, he should break his vow and he should come forward. Krishna went ahead to kill Bhishma Dev. So we can see that how, and Bhishma still, in that whole situation, we can understand from the prayers of Bhishma Dev that at the end, what is Krishna desiring? He wants to still see Krishna in his personal form when he is passing away, when he is departing from this body, when he is leaving this body, he wants to see that Krishna. So Krishna had a very wonderful dealings with Bhishma Dev. We can see their dealings were of exchange of transcendental pleasure. So here we see Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains the wounds given by Bhishma Dev on the body of Krishna. So although we understand from verse 4.5 and 4.6 of Bhagavad Gita that Krishna says, I am not having the same body, Aja and unborn. I come into my original form, Atmamaya. I come by my own potency here. I don't get the body like yours, like the material body. Krishna's body is transcendental. There cannot be any wound. In Shastras it is mentioned Krishna's body does not have veins, blood, mucus like what we have internally. Our body is very dirty. Our body is very ugly actually. inside us is so much of thing. So some devotee, I remember in our Avataridesh Yatra, only in one lecture, one devotee said, externally we look so beautiful, our skin looks so beautiful, we praise our beauty, we praise others' beauty. But imagine if God would have given us body inside out, how would have we treated each other, कि क्या हम सोचते, how ugly we are from inside actually, our intestine, lungs, rakta, mucus, whatever is it there, blood all around, so Krishna doesn't have that kind of body. But here there is transcendental exchange, there is a pleasure in between Bhishma and Krishna. So Bhishma want to pierce Krishna, and that's where Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says it's comparing that piercing of Krishna's Bhishma's arrow to Krishna's body as biting of a lover. So how a lover would enjoy the bites, that is how Krishna is enjoying the arrows of Bhishma Dev. So even there you can see in Shastra it is mentioned that Krishna showed the wounds also. So externally it is misleading to the common people. They might say that Krishna ko wound hua tha, means his body is also like our body, he was like a human being only. That is misleading to demonic people, those who don't want to understand Krishna as it is. For them it is misleading. That is where then they concoct that Krishna's body was burnt, and then Krishna ka bhi antim sanskar hua tha, ye hua tha. They all talk about all those things. But Krishna, we know he is appearing. Janma karma chame divyam. So his janma, birth, and his karma, passing away, all activities Krishna perform, they are transcendental, they are divya, divine. So it is bewildering for a common man, but one who is having knowledge will understand that those wounds Krishna showed is as a sign of love to Bhishma Devi, was accepting, like we offer flowers to Krishna. Krishna accepts those flowers. Krishna accepts the garland we offer to Krishna. Like that, Krishna was accepting the arrows of Bhishma Devi. And Lord was enjoying those wounds. So ultimately, in that mood, so Shivlari mood, so Veer Ras, Bhishma Dev was in Veer Ras, and in that Veer Ras mood only, he situated his mind, fixed his mind on Krishna. He wanted to see Krishna in that Partha Sarthi form, where his kesh is cuddled and mixed with all the mud on the floor, on the ground of Kurukshetra. His body is sweating because of the running around of the Ratha everywhere. And in that prospering mood, Krishna, who is rigorously doing hard work for Arjuna, and then his body is also pierced by some arrows, because generally to the Sarthi nobody pierces the arrows, but when they're shooting the arrows, it might come and hit to the Sarthi also. But here these arrows from Bhishma, they were coming as offering of flowers, to Krishna, offering as his love for Krishna. So in that mood, Bhishma Dev situated his mind. Okay. And then we know, Krishna's another dealing with Bhishma Dev was that Bhishma always knew that he was onto the losing side. And that's where when Bhishma Dev was provoked by Duryodhana, so we saw that Duryodhana in the mid of the battle went to Bhishma Dev and started mentioning Bhishma Dev that you are showing too much of mercy on the Pandavas. You should have killed all the Pandavas. So far you have not killed anybody, and that is where Bhishma again takes a vow that tomorrow I will make the battlefield Pandavaheen. I will kill all the Pandavas. Take these 5 arrows, and with these 5 arrows I will kill. So Duryodhana said, okay, give that 5 arrows to me. I will keep them safely. And then we know how Krishna, in the mid of the night, woke up Arjuna and said, okay, there's no time to sleep. Go and ask Duryodhana, because Duryodhana has given one boon to Arjuna when Arjuna saved Duryodhana from one attack which was happened on Duryodhana. So Duryodhana was as an elder brother, he gave a boon to Arjuna that you have saved me, now I give you a boon. So Arjuna said, I don't want to take anything now. I will take on the opportune time. So Krishna said, now is the opportune time. Go and ask him all the arrows. So he went and asked Duryodhana in the mid of the night. and Duryodhana was obliged because he has given the vachan. So at that time they were very particular to follow the rules of the battlefield. Although Duryodhana was cunning and all this nature was there, but still he was not so cunning at this today's time, because today's time we don't follow any rules and regulations. We just go and attack, or we cause harm to anybody and everywhere and in different ways. But at that time people used to follow the rules. So in the evening time, here we see Duryodhana gives the arrows back to Arjuna, and then again next day Bhishma, give me the arrows. Duryodhana says, gone. Arjuna took it, and then Bhishma knew. Okay, now this is again Madhava. He's playing different games. So this is again loving exchange. So Bhishma knew that whatever he will plan, Krishna will cut that down, and that's where Bhishma then takes another vow that today either Arjun will die or Krishna will have to break his vow. And then we see that wonderful scene where in the last slide you saw that Krishna broke his vow because Arjuna, because Bhishma Dev was very ferocious, and he was attacking Arjuna like anything. And Krishna knew that if I don't stop this happening, then Arjuna will be killed. So Krishna took away, jumped out of his chariot. His garment, the upper garment was fallen down, and then he took the wheel and charged over Bhishma Dev. So Bhishma Dev was very glorious in all aspects, that we can see that Krishna himself broke his vow. And that's where we see when he was then again Krishna deceived him. Yudhishthira himself went to Bhishma Dev and asked, how can we kill you? You are the biggest impediment. And Bhishma again gave the secret away, that if he can be defeated is only because of this reason. And that then Yudhishthira and everybody played that thing. So Yudhishthira was very sorrowful what he did to Bhishma Dev. And he was also very sorrowful of the entire battlefield. So although under the guidance of Krishna, they all did what they need to do and they win the battle. And even the Rajasuya Yagya was conducted. He was being put on the throne. Unka Rajasuya Yagya hua, and he was as declared the empire of the emperor of the entire Bharatvarsh, entire world actually at that time. And but he was very sorrowful. He was thinking that all this lamentation which is happening, all the destruction, genocide that has happened is because of his desire to become king. And he was thinking that nothing can clear my sins, because as a king you can kill somebody and you can take that you can go into the war and you can have fight with another king, war with another king, and you can win over the other kingdoms. But here in this case, when this war happened, Yudhishthira was not a king, and that's why he was thinking that that particular injunction from the Shastra will not apply to his case, and that's why he is full of sins. And no kinds of yagya would clean his sorrow, sins. And he was feeling that he should just give up his body. Just he should stop eating, drinking, and just he should live like that, to just leave his body, and that might help. So he was completely into depression. So Vyasadev, Narada, everybody tried to pacify him. Supreme Lord himself tried to pacify him, but here Yudhishthira Maharaj was not getting into his normal state. And that is where Vyasadev, looking at Krishna, understood the heart of Krishna, that he must be thinking, if Krishna is present here, he can remove everybody's sorrow and depression and anxiety from their minds immediately, because as a Paramatma he is dwelling in everybody's heart. But here Krishna is not doing anything. There is some other plan of Krishna. So Krishna's plan was to glorify his devotee Bhishma Dev. And that's where Vyasadev understood, and Vyasadev then proposed Yudhishthira that if you want to become a great king, if you want to rule with proper dharma, go to Bhishma Dev, who is lying on the bed of arrows, and hear from him what are the procedures you need to follow as a king, what are the processes and systems you need to build to ensure he leads the kingdom in a righteous way. So तो वो बहुत अच्छी तरह से अपने कारोबार को चला सके. They all took him. So they all took the opportunity to see. ऐसा नहीं कि the dialogue was between only Yudhishthir and Bhishma Dev. Everybody, Daumya, Vyasa, Brihadashva, Bharadwaj, Parshuram and his disciples, Vashishta, Indraprada, Tirtha, Gritasmada, Asita, all these Rishi Munis, all these people were going. Even Parshuram, who was his guru, was going there along with his disciples. Why he took all of his disciples with him? Because he wanted to show his disciples that why Parshuram thinks very high of Bhishma Dev, because they had confusion that here we see Bhishma Dev is not following the Agya of Parshuram, because Parshuram has ordered once Bhishma Dev that you marry Amba. And in Shastra, there is an injunction that you can disobey the order of Guru only one time. And that one time he took that opportunity. He said, no, I will not marry. And that was, because of his pratigya to remain brahmachari. And he disobeyed his Guru at that time, where he had a fight also. But then other disciples were thinking that he is disobeying you, he is not following your instruction, and how you can still think so high about Bhishma Dev. Why you are thinking Bhishma is so glorious? Then he wanted to show his disciples how much learned he is. He has learned from Brihaspati, from the Swarga, from Martandya Rishi, from Vyasa, and also from Parshuram himself. So many places he has got the knowledge, and he is very, very knowledgeable person in this world. And that's why he also wanted to witness this knowledge sharing from Bhishma Dev. So Bhishma Dev instructed Yudhishthira, and he gave, there is a Shanti Parwah. In Bhagavatam, it is not mentioned too much, but in Mahabharata, there is a Shanti Parwah which goes hundreds of pages, where he's giving the knowledge about how to maintain the society, how to maintain elders, how to perform yagyas, how to prepare your army. So many things he tells, about economic development, social development, all those things he's telling him to maintain dharma, to perform his services. Yudhishthira could perform his services as a king according to the dharma, according to the instructions of the Lord himself, actually, because dharma means to follow the injunctions of the scriptures. And Bhishma Dev is telling the same thing. Krishna could have directly told to Yudhishthira, but here again, Krishna is giving this opportunity to Bhishma Dev that please go ahead and express your desire to learn from Bhishma, and Bhishma Dev could express this to Yudhishthira, and then the glories of Bhishma Dev can be known to the entire world. And also Lord knew that Bhishma's inner desire, because he is dwelling in everybody's heart. Here Krishna was actually planning to go back to Dwarka, but in all of that between, first Uttara came, then Kunti Maharani came, Kunti Maharani prayed, and then Yudhishthir cried, Yudhishthir's sorrow came, and then Krishna knew what is dwelling in the heart of Bhishma Dev. So for Bhishma Dev, he stopped his tour from going to Dwarka. First he met Bhishma. So what was desire of Bhishma? To have him, Krishna, in front of him when he is passing away. So he wanted to fix all his activities, his senses at once, and he prayed transcended to the control of all living beings while quitting his material body. So he can fix his mind and his thinking and his feelings and all his activities of senses on Krishna, and then he can pass away. So this was about witnessing Krishna. So there is Bhishma Dev's wonderful prayers. We can take few of these verses, recite few of these verses. These are very, very nice verses actually. So we all can do this, plan to study this Bhishma Stuti. It starts from 1.9.32. I can read few verses and then we can go and directly read the translation of these verses. So the meter is like this. So this starts from Bhishma Uvacha, Shri Bhishma Uvacha, Iti Mati Rupakal Vitrishna Bhagavati Satvata Pungave Vibhumni स्वसुखमुपगते क्वचिद् विहर्तुं प्रकृतिमुपेयुषि यद्भव pravaha. So Bhishma Dev is saying, let me now invest my thinking, feeling, and willing, which were so long engaged in different subjects and occupation duties, in the all-powerful Lord Shri Krishna. He is always self-satisfied, but sometimes being the leader of the devotees, he enjoys transcendental pleasure by descending to the material world. Although from him only the material world is created. So here we see Bhishma Dev is saying to invest his thinking, feeling, and willing, in all powerful Lord Shri Krishna. He's saying that my thinking, feeling, and willing should be. So we now learn from Bhishma Dev. Srila Prabhupada also mentions that Bhishma Dev teaches us through his way of passing away that how we should be leaving our body. So we should be completely, our thinking, feeling, and willing should be completely situated and fixed on the all-powerful Lord Shri Krishna. And what is this thinking? कई बार हम लोग देखते हैं कि सोच, हमारी सोच, we are not actually, we are doing a lot of thinking, but feeling and willing is something that is not coming to us. ये मेरा personal issue है. Many of us may have that we think so many things that I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to follow the scriptures nicely, I want to study Bhagavatam, I want to do this, I want to do that. हम लोग हमारे want तक ही रह जाते. I've heard one place किसी ने कहा था हम सोच और सोच से आगे नहीं बढ़ पाते. Like सोच is our excretion activities. We think and we don't go beyond that. We waste our time in thinking, because in thinking also we think so much of garbage within us. बहुत सारा garbage है जो actually एक शौचालय के समान है ना. It is all the waste that is coming into our mind. So our thinking has to be purified, and then our feeling and willing has to be in sync with our thoughts. That is something we should learn from Bhishma Dev. He was always thinking of Krishna, and although he was in the battlefield, in the whole Mahabharata Parwah, we see he is opposite side of Krishna, but still Krishna had so much love for Bhishma Dev. Why? Because his mind, feelings, and his activities were all tuned to Krishna. Now somebody will say, what is his activities? We already discussed that, right? His activities, how could his activities will be tuned to Krishna? That he was actually piercing arrows to Krishna, but then his piercing of arrows was in love to Krishna. So he says wonderful prayers. In these prayers, we see he is glorifying the Lord first, and he's also telling that what he wants to fix his thinking, feeling, and willing on Lord Krishna. Then he glorifies this. Then he says Krishna is an intimate friend of Arjuna, and he appeared on this earth in his transcendental body. So we understand that Krishna, Bhishma Dev very clearly knew that he's a supreme personality of Godhead, and he's not having the material body, and its body's color, bluish color of tamala tree, tamala varanam. So he knew that Krishna is coming in his transcendental body, but still he was piercing that body because of his Veera ras. He was giving this loving exchange with Krishna, and then he's reminding, see here the quality of Bhishma Dev. He's not talking only about himself here, but he's talking about Krishna's devotees. He's talking about Arjuna. Later we'll see he's talking about the gopis. So Krishna loves this. When we talk about not just about Krishna's glorification, but also glorification of his devotees, Krishna loves that. So then he says his body attracts everyone in 3 planetary systems. May his glittering yellow dress and his lotus face be the object of my attraction, and may I not desire fruitive results. So here he's saying that all that, already he's fixed into Krishna consciousness, but these are the instructions for us that, if you want to attain the highest perfection, then you have to give up your desire for fruitive results. Then he's also talking about the decorations, like what are the decorations on Krishna? The decorations are like the ash on the धूल जो उस कुरुक्षेत्र की धूल है जो घोड़ों के टाप के वजह से धूल उड़ी है, the dust from the horses hoofs, that dust was sitting on the hairs of Krishna, and all the perspiration was seen on Krishna, because Krishna is playing the role of a chariot driver. So he was completely involved in that. He was working like a chariot driver. And we also see that as a chariot driver, you have to accept so many things. The warrior, he will not tell you with the mouth that go left and go right. Krishna, he was like Arjuna had to push Krishna with his leg. Left mein jao, right mein jao. He used to kick Krishna, and Krishna then will take the the ratha as Arjuna wants to go, and the whole perspiration. So Krishna was fully engaged in that war, and you can see Krishna's varna was like blackish now because of the dust, and that is all is called as decoration. Because anything that goes on Krishna becomes a decoration, because Krishna is आभूषण के जो भूषण हो जाता है. मतलब it's mentioned that the ornaments that go on the body of Krishna, they become glorious because Krishna is already beautiful, and when the ornaments come on Krishna, the ornaments become more beautiful. So it's not increasing Krishna's beauty, but Krishna is increasing the beauty of this ornament. So like this, all this environment which is on Krishna, the dust and his perspiration, that was actually enhancing his beauty more, and those things were also glorified. And this is a vision of Bhishma Dev. He is seeing Krishna as a very beautiful, decorated personality with those sharp arrows, having his body with wounds, and that Parthasarthi form of Krishna is loved by Bhishma Dev, and he's saying that let my mind be fixed on that. Then he's talking about Krishna, how he's protecting Arjuna, and he's also mentioning about Krishna speaking Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, because when Arjuna's mind was polluted, like again, Krishna's plan that Arjun should get bewildered, and then he could get the chance to deliver the transcendental knowledge. So here we understand that Bhishma Dev was already aware of that transcendental knowledge. And then here you can see he's saying, may his lotus feet always remain the object of my attraction. What we understand from that is that Arjuna received this transcendental knowledge only after surrendering to Krishna. He surrendered to the lotus feet of Krishna, and then Krishna started instructing Arjuna. So this is a lesson we can understand from this, is that Bhishma Dev is also saying, I want to surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord, and let that lotus feet of the Lord be my attraction. And then fulfilling my desire and sacrifice his own promise. Then Bhishma Dev is mentioning about how you are so merciful that you broke your promise. When it comes to devotees, Krishna doesn't care about himself. That's when Bhagavad Gita, we say many places where Krishna wants to say something very prominent or give guarantee to people. He doesn't say it is my guarantee. He's saying, Name Bhakta Pranashati. He'd say, tell Partha, everybody, that Name Bhakta, my devotee will never fall. So he's telling Partha, because if Partha, like Arjuna is telling this, and devotees promise, he will maintain. He will break his own promise, but he will never break the promise of his devotees. So he maintained that, and he came in front of Bhishma Dev in a very voracious form, just as a lion goes to kill the elephant. In that form, as a lion form, he went and tried to kill Bhishma. But then he wanted to give Bhishma that vision, that Bhishma was, that laulyam that Bhishma had, that greed Bhishma had in his heart to see Krishna in that form. Krishna gave that form to Bhishma. That was his epitome of, we can say, bhakti, devotion, that Bhishma was rewarded with that form. It was not Krishna charging to kill Bhishma. It was Krishna revealing his beautiful form to Bhishma, so that Bhishma can capture that form in his heart, and and then can serve Krishna eternally into that form. That's why when it said that when Bhishma passed away, it's maintained, it's mentioned that is merged into Krishna. So devotees understand that merging is actually what? That he's in tune with Krishna. He's become one with the desire of Krishna. That is how we understand. Become one with Krishna means to become one with the desire of Krishna. An eternal world in the Vaikuntha planets, we then go back and serve Krishna into the form which we were dwelling into, which were fixed into. So Bhishma is considered that he went to Vaikuntha planet where Krishna is as Parthasarthi, and he's serving eternally there. So that is the ultimate destination that Krishna wants us. And that's why it is said, the person of God to award salvation, be my ultimate destination. So that form was Bhishma Dev's ultimate destination. And then we see in the last part of this verses that he's mentioning about Krishna's body getting wounded, and the moment of death, he wanted to concentrate upon Krishna, his ultimate attraction. He also said, "You are the chariot driver of Arjuna." And he's again, visualizing Krishna's form at that time. When Krishna is personally present, he's not chariot driver at that time, but he is fixing his mind, feeling, willing, and thinking all on that form of Krishna. Those who saw, and that's where, and also he mentioned how Krishna was very merciful on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, that he delivered all the opposite parties. Everybody who died in that battlefield were actually received salvation because Krishna was present in front of them. And he knew very well that although Pandavas are killing these people, but it is Krishna who is actually delivering them with his glance. So that's what he mentions that. And then he mentions about the gopis, who imitated the characteristic movements of the Lord. So it is also very nicely mentioned that the love of gopis is considered more higher, because they just not become, they become like Krishna. They perform acts like Krishna because they were on the higher platform. The gopis were actually dancing with Krishna and doing wonderful loving exchanges with Krishna. So whatever Krishna was doing, gopis were doing along with him, and slowly they caught upon to the characteristics of Krishna. So the gopis were almost equivalent to at the equal level of Krishna, but others are not on that same level. But gopis' love is, that's why, considered at a more higher stage. And then he's referring to them as well, because he wants to take Krishna's super blessings here, because when Krishna hears about his devotees, he becomes more pleased. So he's here pleasing Krishna. All these prayers he's doing to please Krishna so that he receives Krishna's full mercy. He mentions about the Rajasuya Yagya there. Then he wanted to meditate with full concentration upon Sri Krishna, now present before him. And he mentioned that all his misconceptions of dualities have gone now. And as the sun is perceived differently, so like Krishna, so he's saying that Krishna is present in everybody's heart. So even the Mayavadis, their heart also is Krishna is sitting, but you may perceive it differently. We can here understand that Bhishma Dev is not talking about any Mayavadi philosophy here. He's mentioning very clearly that he wants the form of the Lord. He's fixed his mind on the form of the Lord, not formless. So we can see that Bhishma is so learned from the Shastras. Everywhere he has learned, he has received knowledge from the highest source. And that Bhishma, he's saying his ultimate destination is this beautiful form of Lord Krishna. So we learn so much from this. And in this last verse which we saw, we say that here Shuddha Goswami says that he has merged his mind, speech, sight, and actions, and his breathing stopped. So in that way, here we see that Bhishma Dev passes away by fixing his mind completely, all his activities, his consciousness. Here we see that iti matir, he's wanted his mati, his consciousness. So Krishna wants his consciousness, your consciousness. So how Bhishma Dev pleased all the Lord Shri Krishna, we can also please. How we can please, because Krishna is not personally present here, but now his representatives are. Srila Prabhupada is present in the form of his books, and then there are wonderful devotees like His Holiness Jayapadaka Swami Maharaj and many other our acharyas, our Guru Vrinda from ISKCON. There are their pure devotees who are representing Srila Prabhupada and of course the Supreme Lord. We can see that they are present and we can do activities to please them. And the most pleasing thing for our dear Srila Prabhupada is by distributing his book and by reading his book. So we should read, we should understand, apply that in our life, and we should also distribute these books. So by doing that activity, we will surely please our acharyas, and once our acharyas are pleased, Supreme Lord will be definitely pleased. And that's where in this purport of 1.9.43, Srila Prabhupada mentions that the same gati what Bhishma Dev has got, we all can get. And that's the lesson for all of us, that we should not feel that, I am not at the level of Bhishma Dev, how can I get? He's so learned. But Srila Prabhupada is making it very clear. Just follow the instructions of the Acharyas, do something to please the Lord and his devotees. Definitely we will also be able to achieve. So this is the lesson from the glorious passing away of Bhishma Dev. I would like to end my slides here and seek for your forgiveness for any mistakes I have done during this discussion, during this discourse, and also would like you to correct me if I have done any mistake somewhere. You can always correct me and help me to improve in my sadhana and in my bhakti path. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, that was a wonderful lecture, Prabhu. Thank you for giving us relishing time to associate with Srimad Bhagavatam for some time today. Prabhu, just a small clarification. You nicely narrated, the Kauravas, including Pandavas, those who were on the battlefield, because they were glancing, because Krishna physically was present in the battlefield. So everybody got salvation, you said. That was, nice to hear that everybody got salvation. And those who actually, we know that whoever died in the battlefield, so they also go back back home, back to Godhead. So in connection to this, Prabhu, how Krishna's dynasty destroyed? I believe Krishna dynasty, the Krishna, the Yadu dynasty, sorry.
Yes.
Yadu dynasty, they were destroyed. I believe Krishna's grandson, Samba, he made some comment. He acted as pregnant lady, and he was cursed, and then he gave birth to an iron rod. Correct, Prabhu? So
Yes,
that iron rod, I think some Muni suggested to put it in the sea, and then it actually, it actually grown as a grass. Correct, Prabhu? And
Yes.
then, the Yadu dynasty, they were using this grass. They got killed each other. There, Krishna was not present. Did this Yadu dynasty also got salvation? How did they got salvation, Prabhu? Or did they got salvation?
So, Prabhuji,
Did they get salvation, sir?
What I have heard from our senior devotees, especially I've heard this from Ramakrishna Prabhu in one of the class, actually, when he was giving some lecture on this topic. So in that I've heard that, they are all actually Krishna's expansions. They are not like when Krishna comes, actually it is mentioned that he comes with his entire troop. They are all liberated souls only. So when Krishna's expansions were present at that time, they were as powerful as Krishna. So if those were there, then it is mentioned that that would be leading to devastation. So Krishna wanted to end his pastime. So he is taking away all his people also with him. So they are actually coming with him only. They're part of the entire Leela. So it is mentioned that when Krishna comes, Atma, he's like, when, Srijami Ham, in the verse 4.7 of Bhagavad Gita, we said, Atmanam Srijami. So the meaning of Atmanam is that Krishna designs his Leela. So he has designed already his Leela. He has decided what all things will happen when I appear on this earth this time. This will be the activities, that will be the activities. He has planned everything. And according to that plan, the execution is happening. So when the time came, Krishna went back. Then it was time for all the Yadu dynasty to go back. All those who came along with Krishna, they had to go back. So there should be some reason to make that happen. So that was the reason, that was the Leela part only. That was the pastime part, that was created, that they all killed each other, and it is very bewildering to somebody, like how could Krishna's son, they could be so, we can say ignorant, that they killed each other, they become fight, instead of leading the righteous path like Krishna, how could they become so ignorant and do this kind of activities? But then that is part of his Leela. So it was Krishna had did what he, achieved what he wanted to do, as establishing the dharma and everything. So under the rule of Yudhishthir Maharaj, everything was working as per the plan of Krishna. So Krishna did, okay, now is the time to go, and another things will start, So then he leave the things for us further to continue. So that's what I have heard, Prabhuji. I would request other devotees, our senior devotees like Rasamrit Prabhu, so Balram Sakha Prabhu, they may add something to this.
Because my understanding, Krishna already he completed his
Correct.
pastime, and this has happened after Krishna left to his abode.
Yeah.
So when
to beget Krishna as a father itself will be such a big thing, it will be only the liberated souls who can do that. It is not that conditioned souls will beget Krishna as a father. We get a birth according to our karma, but Krishna, when he comes, that's what my understanding. I will say, if anybody else would like to add anything.
Yeah. And the analogy is that, in the Kurukshetra field, because on the Kaurava side, I know they were not as pious as, maybe we'll put it this way, as Pandavas. No, they were liberated just because they were, fighting in front of Krishna. That is one thing. Also, they were actually, died in the battlefield.
Correct.
So they are like, maybe sinner party, maybe, I don't know, should I call this way? But they all got liberated. So how this analogy can be applied in Prabhu? Like, because here Krishna is not present and they were fighting each other among themselves, but did they all get liberation?
Here, when you talk about Yadu dynasty, that is actually coming from Krishna himself. They are his expansions. We are also his expansions, but they are like, probably they are not Vibhinna Amshas. Like we are Vibhinna Amshas, they are separated energies of the Lord, but they are actually his Swa Amshas probably. It's just expanding Krishna, and that's why they are not on this platform as we are, and that's why we consider them as already liberated souls. They are like liberated personalities. I will not even say the souls. So that's my understanding based on what I remember from what I heard. But anybody else is free to add their thoughts on this. Anybody would like to say something on that? But nice, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for your question.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
If you allow, just
please enlighten.
Thank you, Prabhu. First of all, very wonderful class, Prabhu. It was very amazing, and particularly the mood of Bhishmadev and his prayers are one of the best prayers which one can learn from. And regarding Yadu dynasty, obviously Prabhu already explained how Yadu dynasty was destroyed. So the point is that during Damodar Leela, Parikshit Maharaj is amazed, and he asked Shukdev Goswami that how could Yashoda Maiya get Krishna as her son? What she had done? And then Shukdev Goswami goes 3 generations behind and tells the story of Drona and Dhara. Says that they did such a tapasya that they could get Krishna as their own son. It's not that easy actually. So similarly, to get Krishna as a relative or family member is impossible for any ordinary jiva. It has to be like somebody who is eternally liberated soul can only have Krishna as the relative. So all this Yadu dynasty, as you already said, were equally powerful as Krishna. And Krishna, obviously, he came with a plan. And, like when we go for doing a drama, or maybe we can understand with our hall program situation that we go with all the preparation and all the paraphernalia, we go set up the altar, set up everything. And then when the program is over, announcements are done, everything is dismantled, and, we come back home. So Krishna also takes his whole stage along with him when he goes to perform pastimes, and he sets up, so he set up Dwarika. Basically, Krishna actually ran away from Mathura, and Dwarika was formed. So meaning Krishna achieves many things from one pastime also. So if you go in detail, there is so much that how Dwarika actually came into picture and all those things. But anyway, so Krishna goes along with the whole entourage. He sets up, he performs pastime. There is a stage, everything, and as part of the conclusion, the climax. First, obviously, the Mahabharata war was over. Pandavas, they left, and then Krishna, he actually knew that now I need to unfold my going back also. So he took Uddhav and took to Prabhas Kshetra, and then obviously in Prabhas Kshetra there is another Gita which was spoken by Krishna. So what Krishna spoke to Arjuna is very small Gita called Bhagavad Gita. What Krishna spoke to Uddhav is Uddhav Gita, which is really very huge, comes in Srimad Bhagavatam. So then he gives the whole, and then he actually, made this pastime where Shambh will do such a thing, and he will insult this great rishis. Rishis will obviously, give the curse. So there are many things which one can understand from this pastime also. First of all, that they actually made insult for this great rishis, which one should not do, never do to a devotee. That's number one. Secondly, all this Yadavas, they actually were drunk. So another principle is that we should not drink. Otherwise, then, you don't have control on your tongue. And then they started abusing each other. And with that abuse, taking that stick which was grown on the side of the ocean, they actually killed each other. So there was no power in the world which could have finished, Yadavas. They were equally powerful to Krishna, and therefore Krishna only wanted his own energy to finish it off. Meaning, from the material point of view, from the Laukic view, so Krishna just wanted them to take along and then go. And obviously, all those who died on the battlefield of Kurukshetra were only liberated. But all the Yadavas actually went along with Krishna because they are part of Krishna. So meaning they got much higher destination compared to those who died on the battle of Kurukshetra. And then Krishna, he actually, he took everyone along. And meaning, if you can say that if Krishna is in Golok Vrindavan, they are also in Golok Vrindavan. If Krishna is in Dwarika, they are also in Dwarika. So obviously they were Dwarika Vasis. So they are in Dwarika. The other people who died on Kurukshetra may or may not be in Dwarika, depending upon, their relationship with Krishna. But all the Yadavas were directly along with Krishna. They are in Dwarika. So Krishna took. So, and then obviously when Krishna went, now somebody can say, okay, Krishna was present and okay, he also took. So now when Krishna left, he left behind us Srimad Bhagavatam. So anybody who takes shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam, or even like, Bhishma Pitama could see Krishna face to face, somebody even sees Bhagavatam face to face while dying, maybe he will go back home, back to Godhead. So Krishna left Srimad Bhagavatam, and if we take complete shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam with 100%, attention, and whatever destination even Yadavas got, whatever destination Pandavas got, one can also get that just by taking shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam. And it doesn't matter what body you are in, what color, what creed, what caste, whether you leave your body in Vrindavan, in Mayapur, anywhere. His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj purposely left his body in Gita Nagari in United States of America, because he wanted to prove to the whole world that one who has taken shelter of Srila Prabhupada, all the ISKCON temples of Prabhupada are non-different than Vaikuntha, and one who takes shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam will definitely go back home, back to Godhead. So obviously we understand that, Krishna was there. When Krishna left, Krishna was in Chandravans. So when moon is setting, sun is rising. So the sun, like Srimad Bhagavatam, has come, and now it is our duty to take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam, prepare ourselves properly as Bhishma Dev prepared, and then ultimately go back home, back to Godhead. So these were my few thoughts. Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thankful.
So nice clarification, Prabhu. Thank you, Nitai Nateshwar Prabhu, for a nice lecture. Thank you once again.
Thank you all devotees for your prayers and blessings.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavatam, Prabhu.
Hare Samra, Prabhu. There is so many ways to withdraw his manifestations. Why this brutal way he chose?
Maybe will of the Lord, Prabhuji. Will of Krishna. That way. So because sometimes Krishna can be very soft.
Then your former, this very lengthy description not required. We can tell that it is a will of the God in the beginning itself.
Actually, see, that is the thing. Actually, it is will of the Lord. But this one short 2-word answer, devotees don't accept sometimes.
Okay. Okay, this okay.
Thank you, Prabhu.